Did you know that 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck? That's a staggering number, isn't it? It's a harsh reality that many of us are trapped in a cycle of financial instability, largely due to certain detrimental money habits. The truth is, money habits can make or break your financial future. Now, you might be thinking, but I've got my finances under control. And that's great. But do you ever wonder why you're not moving forward financially as fast as you'd like? The answer often lies in our habits, those seemingly small decisions we make every day that can have a huge impact over time. Sadly, many of us were never taught about financial literacy in school. But it's never too late to learn and change. Today, we're going to talk about those bad money habits, the ones that kept me broke for years. So, let's dive into the 8 bad money habits that kept me broke. First up, the habit that started it all, not saving. I remember when I landed my first job, the thrill of that first paycheck was exhilarating. But rather than putting some of it away for a rainy day, I spent it all. Yes, I was living in the moment, but I was also setting myself up for a future of financial instability. Every time I received my paycheck, I repeated the same cycle, leaving nothing for savings. Now, let's talk about the importance of saving money. It's not just about having a safety net for emergencies, it's also about preparing for the future. Whether you're saving for a house, a dream vacation, or your retirement, every penny counts. It's like planting seeds for a money tree that will bloom in the future. However, when I was younger, I didn't understand this. I saw money as something to be spent, not saved, and that's how not saving money kept me broke. Now let's talk about the second habit, impulse buying. Picture this, you're casually strolling through a store, or maybe you're browsing online, and suddenly you spot something that catches your eye. It's shiny, it's new, and you just have to have it. Without a second thought, you whip out your wallet. And voila! But have you ever stopped to think about the long-term effects of these spur-of-the-moment purchases? I certainly didn't. I'd buy something on impulse, experience a brief moment of joy, and then be left with a lighter wallet and a hefty dose of buyer's remorse. Over time, these spontaneous purchases began to take a toll on my financial health. My savings dwindled, my credit card balance soared, and I found myself trapped in a cycle of buying and regretting. The truth is, impulse buying isn't just about the money. It's also about the cycle of instant gratification and subsequent regret. Impulse buying, a habit that cost me more than just money. The third bad habit is not budgeting. Now let's take a trip down memory lane. Picture this. It was a sunny day in July and I was feeling pretty good about my finances. I had just received my paycheck and was ready to enjoy my hard-earned money. But here's the catch. I didn't have a budget. I spent left and right, not keeping track of where my money was going. By the time I realized it was too late, my bank account was nearly empty and the month was far from over. I had to scrape by until the next paycheck, which was a humbling experience to say the least. It was then that I understood the importance of budgeting. Having a budget not only allows you to keep track of your expenses, but also helps in planning for the future. Budgeting is like a financial GPS. It guides you towards your financial goals, ensuring you don't lose your way. Not budgeting, a habit that broke my bank. The fourth bad habit, living beyond your means. Now, let's dive into a story that many of us can relate to. Picture this. I was freshly out of college, landed a decent job and thought I was invincible. I started spending extravagantly, from fancy dinners to designer clothes, believing that the money would always be there. I was living a lifestyle that my paycheck could not sustain, leading me to the path of financial instability. The impact? It was like a punch to the gut. I was drowning in debt, constantly stressed about paying bills, and my credit score was a disaster. Living beyond my means was not just a bad habit. It was a financial catastrophe. It taught me a valuable lesson about understanding my financial capacity and the importance of living within it. So, my friends, remember this. Your financial health is directly impacted by how well you manage your earnings. Living beyond my means, a habit that kept me in debt. Now, let's speed things up with the remaining bad habits. Let's start with the fifth one, not investing. For a long time, I thought investing was a word for the wealthy, but I was wrong. When I finally understood the power of compound interest, I realized I had missed out on years of potential growth. It's like planting a tree and waiting for it to bear fruit. Yes, it takes time, but the reward is worth the wait. Moving on to the sixth bad habit, ignoring bills. I used to treat my bills like a game of hide and seek. I'd hide and they'd seek. But bills are not seekers. They are reminders of our responsibilities. Ignoring them only led to late fees, penalties, and a poor credit score. It was a high price to pay for a game I was destined to lose. The seventh habit is not planning for emergencies. I lived on the edge, with no safety net to catch me if I fell. And fall I did. When an unexpected medical expense came my way, I was left scrambling. It was a wake-up call, reminding me of the importance of having an emergency fund. Finally, the eighth and arguably the most destructive habit, excessive borrowing. I was a master at juggling credit cards, loans, and overdrafts. It was a dangerous balancing act that eventually came crashing down. The interest alone was crippling, let alone the principal amount. It was a cycle of debt I struggled to break free from. Each of these habits, on their own, may seem harmless, but together they created a perfect storm that led to my financial downfall. They were the invisible chains that kept me broke. Not investing meant missing out on potential growth. Ignoring bills resulted in penalties and a poor credit score. Not having an emergency fund left me vulnerable, and excessive borrowing trapped me in a cycle of debt. These habits, they all contributed to my financial downfall. So, those were the 8 bad money habits that kept me broke. We journeyed through the pitfalls of not saving, the danger of impulse buying, the recklessness of not budgeting, and the illusion of living beyond our means. We delved into the remaining habits, each one a stepping stone on the path to financial instability. These habits weren't just my downfall, they're universal. We've all been there, each of us facing our own financial dragons. But remember, every dragon has its weak spot. Our aim? To find it, to vanquish it. Let's take this moment to reflect, to look at our money habits, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to learn, to grow, and most importantly, to change. Now, I want to ask you, which of these habits do you struggle with, and what are you doing to break them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights and stories. Remember, financial freedom starts with breaking bad money habits. Check out my next video that YouTube suggests, and I'll see you on the other side.